we announced a nationwide dawn to dusk curfew. And then again on the 5th of April of this year again, we augmented this by announcing the cessation of movement into and out of a number of counties. Later on, more measures were announced to contain the havoc visited upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic. Given this trajectory and the fact that this crisis requires, unfortunately, a long-term strategy, we took time to reflect on what must be done. If we lift the cessation of movement ban, how will this help each and every one of us fight the pandemic? And indeed, if we do not, how does this ban continue to affect our economy, especially our micro-business enterprises and those who derive their livelihoods from them? So, fellow Kenyans, to answer these questions, we turn to our brain trust, our experts, some of whom are standing behind us, a team made up of the finest doctors and research scientists, as well as public practitioners, and we turn to them for counsel. And it must be admitted that opinion was divided on how we are to advance against this virus. Some, myself included, wanted us to open up now. That was and is still my desire. I know we all want to open up at the earliest opportunity and get our economy going. Me more so, as Kenya, as you all know, was recently ranked the third largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa. But others held a contrary position, and they were borrowing from history, scientific modeling, and also current experiences the world over to argue against mass reopening at this stage. Therefore, with these two viewpoints on the table, we must accept that we're not dealing with a right and a wrong opinion. We are caught in between two rights. Those who want to open are right, and those opposed to opening are also right. And this clash of two rights placed us on the horns of dilemma. In the absence of scientific consensus amongst experts in the medical, research, and public sectors, I asked for some scenarios. I wanted to know the worst case scenario and the best options that are available to us in order to contain the disease without affecting the economy irreversibly. I wanted these scenarios built around raw facts, because we have decided as a country to combat this pandemic in an open and transparent manner. Fellow Kenyans, we must speak truth to each other. Had we not taken the stringent measures that we did in March of 2020, the rate of infections in Kenya would have peaked to 800,000 people by July 30th of this year. And if, as we have seen is the case, that one infected person has the potential to infect 2 people, this number would have hit 2.4 million people in 21 days. By the end of August this year, had we not taken the actions that we have taken, approximately 75,000 Kenyans would have lost their lives from this virus. But because we took interventions early, we have recorded only 2,600 infections with 83 deaths. So therefore, fellow Kenyans, if this is the worst case scenario, we wanted to know what the other scenarios look like. So if today we put in place all the necessary interventions and relax these by only 20%, what would this look like? According to the experts behind me here, relaxing interventions by 20% would lead to 200,000 infections and 30,000 deaths by December of 2020. Further, if we relax the interventions by 40%, the infections will peak in November with 300,000 infections and 40,000 deaths. If we were to go even further and relax them by 60%, the pandemic will peak in October with 450,000 infections and 45,000 deaths. Although these projections are generated by a model, our experts have shown us hard evidence suggesting that countries which opened up without proper protocols also experienced serious waves or secondary waves of infections. Spike of infections were, for instance, experienced when religious gatherings were allowed in South Korea, Pakistan, and Malaysia. So if this is our new reality, and we face the dilemma of easing restrictions or continuing with them, the question then is, what must we do as a country? What is our irreducible minimum for reopening the country? What is the threshold below which we cannot go? Once again, according to the professionals with us here, the irreducible minimum for lifting restrictions has 3 thresholds. 1, to open up, the infections must be contained and the number of infections and deaths must be headed downwards. This is currently not the case in our country. 2, our healthcare system must be prepared sufficiently to take on a surge in infections. It must not be overwhelmed at any one point during this pandemic. Access to testing, isolation, and quarantine must be a bare minimum in our health facilities. This is not currently the case. 3, the capacity for surveillance and contact tracing must also be fully in place across the country. So the question then we must all ponder together, fellow Kenyans, is whether we have met this threshold or these 3 thresholds in order to lift the restrictions. Have the cases, as I have said, of infections taken a downward turn, for instance? The answer is definitely no. We are seeing an increase. Have we met the second minimum of prepared health systems with isolation? Again, as I said, the answer is no. And I just give two examples. Siaya County has only a 10-bed isolation facility, and already they have admitted 9 COVID patients from only one incident. Similarly, Busia County has a 34-bed isolation facility, and 2 days ago that facility was full. So, fellow Kenyans, if there is a surge in infections in just these 2 counties, the healthcare system will most definitely be overwhelmed. So the hard question to pose here is whether Kenyans are prepared to nurse COVID-19 patients in their homes if our healthcare system cannot handle the numbers. Are they prepared to expose their children, to expose the elderly to COVID-19 patients in the close proximity of home? And yes, we have dispersed Kenya shillings 5 billion to the counties in order to assist them increase their healthcare capacity in view of this pandemic. But to build the necessary health infrastructure for such an undertaking requires time. We must get ahead of this pandemic by creating lead time. So therefore, fellow Kenyans who are considering the possibility of de-escalating the containment measures in place and conscious that health is a shared function between the national and county governments, I have convened today an extraordinary session of the National and County Government Coordinating Summit on Wednesday, the 10th day of June, to consider the following salient matters. First, to review the effectiveness of the containment measures we have taken so far, those that have been rolled out to break the chain of transmission of the coronavirus disease. The second, to secure the undertaking of every county government to deliver isolation facilities with at least a minimum of 300 beds. And thirdly, within 14 days, to develop time-bound protocols for progressive reopening of the economy. Fellow Kenyans, with my colleagues and having applied our minds to the different scenarios presented by our experts, I have reconciled myself to the fact that to open or not to open is not a dilemma between a right and a wrong. It is a dilemma between two rights. And because of this, and fully cognizant of the irreducible minimum given by our experts, and in keeping with the advice of the National Security Council, I today hereby direct an order as follows: that the cessation of movement into and out of Eastleigh area of Nairobi and the specific limitations in force with respect to the Old Town area of Mombasa that is currently in force shall lapse at 4 a.m. on the 7th of June 2020. That in view of the successful containment of the disease in the counties of Kilifi and Kwale, the cessation of movement into and out of the two counties that is currently in force shall also lapse at 4 a.m. on the 7th of June 2020. 3. That following stakeholders' consultations in the education sector, the Ministry of Education, jointly with the Ministry of Health, issue and publicize guidelines on a gradual and progressive return to normalcy in the education sector by the third term, that is, from the 1st of September 2020. Further, that the Ministry of Education shall announce the new school calendar by the middle of August. As you are aware, on Madaraka Day, I did direct that the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Health, hold consultations with interfaith and religious organizations. So today, we state that following these consultations, within 7 days of today, the Ministries of Interior and Health will constitute an interfaith council to work out modalities and protocols of reopening of our places of worship. 5, that in the meantime, the ban on all forms of gatherings, including but not limited to political gatherings, social gatherings, including bars, be and is hereby extended for a further 30 days. That due to the evolving nature of the disease globally, international travel restrictions are hereby extended. In the meantime, the Ministry of Transport is directed within 7 days from the date hereof to engage all key stakeholders and develop protocols and guide resumption of local air travel. That due to the increase in patterns of infections, the cessation of movement into and out of the Nairobi metropolitan area, Mombasa, and Mandera be further extended by 30 days. That the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew, currently in force until today, the 6th of June 2020, is extended for a further 30 days. However, the commencement time for the same shall be varied from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., with the end time for the same being varied from 5 a.m. to 4 a.m. Therefore, effective 7th June 2020, the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew will run from 9 p.m. in the evening to 4 o'clock or 4 a.m. in the morning. This variation should enable Kenyans to have a full workday schedule. Fellow Kenyans, recognizing the negative impact of the COVID-19 is not limited to healthcare. As I have said before, my administration has made targeted interventions to protect our economy. At the onset of the pandemic, my administration injected 216 billion back into the economy through tax refunds, rebates and waivers. In our second phase, we have further rolled out 53.7 billion under an 8-point stimulus package to reinvigorate our economy. Each week, the government is distributing approximately 300 million shillings a week to the most vulnerable members of our society, on top of Kazi Mitaani, which is also being extended to cover more counties. Also on Madaraka Day, I did announce that a further Kenya shillings 2 billion would be injected into the hospitality industry to cushion those in that industry from the effects of this pandemic, and modalities of how these resources will be shared are to be released next week, with priority given to ensuring that our workers in this sector are assisted to retain their jobs. Finally, I wish to assure each and every Kenyan that I shall do all that is necessary to limit the negative effects of COVID-19 on our people, our economy, and our way of life. Rest assured that my administration will continue to work to restore our lost livelihoods, our lost opportunities, and our lost wealth. As I have said before, I continue to call upon all Kenyans, particularly landlords and employers, to put people before profits during these testing times. Permit me to close by saying what I have always said, that this disease is beatable if we work together. Listen to and apply the regulations, the guidelines and protocols issued by the Ministry of Health, and let us all keep our eyes on slaying the enemy. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Kenya. I'll take 2 questions, and then I will leave the experts who have been advising us to continue with the rest of the session.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon to
my
you,
name
my
is
friend.
Gashuri from
Yes,
Citizen
Gashuri,
TV.
I know you.
How are you, sir?
I'm well, and you?
Very well.
Good.
I'm sure you've seen the expectations, many of them from Kenyans who are hoping that you will do something to release them. But be it as it may, the main question is the question of sustenance, livelihoods. People are complaining, people are lamenting that they are no longer able to sustain themselves. Is there a possibility of expanding the list of beneficiaries from the money that is being given every week to cover even those who are not initially listed among the most vulnerable, because there seems to be an enlarging group of people in dire need to sustain their livelihoods? Thank you.
Like I said, in full recognition of what you have said, Gashuri, this is why we have been releasing, like I'm saying, approximately 300 million shillings. And this is over and above the 10 billion that we release every year, no, the 30 billion, sorry, that we release every year to the most vulnerable in our society. And I do agree with you that there are some sectors, especially the hospitality sectors, the hotels, the small restaurants, the bars, and so on and so forth, that have been closed, and a number of people in those areas have also been affected. That is why on Madaraka Day, we said that we are expanding that program by a further 2 billion shillings in order to be able to capture those people in those sectors, and to also ensure that we are cushioning them during this difficult time as we work towards reopening. But ultimately, we have no choice. We will do what we can to continue to support livelihoods. We recognize that that's where the challenge is. And we will do what we can to support all our citizens, especially those most affected. And we will continue to do that. So I want to assure you that we have that in mind, and we are taking action on it. And as I've said, the Joint Ministerial Committee that was put together to make consultations with those in those most seriously affected industries will, within a week, come out with the guidelines of how those resources shall be released. And like I'm saying, this will go specifically towards ensuring that these establishments are able to keep their workers on payroll while we go through this difficult time. Secondly, as we have also said, the reason for expanding the curfew time is to ensure that we now have Kenyans who are able to go to work and have a full day's work and still have adequate time to go home. This now will enable Kenyans to be able to work a full shift, unlike the half shifts that we are into before. Now you can have a full day's shift. You can work from 8 to 5 and still be able to get home on time, thus expanding the number of working hours and therefore enabling more and more Kenyans to be able to resume their normal duties and activities in our economy.
Jina langu ni Nancy Okware kutoka KBC.
Nancy?
Okware kutoka KBC.
KBC.
Na swali langu kwanza kabisa, umesema ya kwamba masharti katika kaunti ya Kwale na Kilifi kwa sasa hivi yameondolewa. Je, kama serikali mnahisi kwamba mmefanya vya kutosha ili kuhakikisha kwamba hawa watu wanapotoka na kuenda katika kaunti nyingine wamepimwa, ili kuhakikisha kwamba pengine kuna mmoja hakuwa amepimwa, lakini unasema ya kwamba Kilifi mmeweza kumaliza ugonjwa ule pale na watu wote hawajapimwa?
Hatujasema ugonjwa umeisha.
Yaani mmeweza
lakini tumesema ya kwamba katika kaunti za Kilifi na Kwale ugonjwa umeanza kupungua. Na kwa sababu umeanza kupungua, tumesema tunaweza sasa kufungua. Lakini vile nimesema, nimeita mkutano wa baraza la magavana wa taifa letu, gavana wote 47 governors. Nimeita huo mkutano on Wednesday, kwa sababu mambo ya afya na vile tutatembea na vile tutaruhusu watu kutembea county to county, lazima magavana wawe on board. Lazima waweke mikakati, kila governor kwa county yake, ile itatumiwa wakati watu wanatembea. Watapima temperature namna gani, watajua wagonjwa ni wagapi. This is why tunataka kufanya hiyo program pamoja na wao, ndio tusaidiane, kwa sababu haja yetu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba hatutoi ugonjwa kaunti moja kuupeleka kaunti ingine. Na ndipo unasikia tukisema kama ni hapa kwetu Nairobi sasa pale tuko hapa, ugonjwa unaenda juu. Tukiufungua hapa, na hakuna inchi ambaye imefungua wakati ugonjwa unapanda. Na kwa kaunti yetu ya Nairobi sasa ugonjwa unapanda. Katika my states mbali sasa tunaona increased number of cases. Na ndipo tunasema Nairobi sio kama Kwale na Kilifi. Kwale na Kilifi ugonjwa umeanza kushuka. Hapa Nairobi unapanda. Na ndipo unaona tumefungua kule ambapo ugonjwa umeanza kuteremuka, na tumebakisha cessation kwa pahali ambapo ugonjwa bado unaendelea kwenda juu, kwa sababu hatutaki kueneza huu ugonjwa kwa kaunti zile zingine. Umesikia hapo nikisema hapo awali, tukifungua kabisa vile wengine labda wangependa tufanye. Kulikuwa tu case moja ambaye ilitoka hapa Nairobi ikaenda mpaka Siaya. Hiyo case moja imesababisha watu wengine 8 wapate ugonjwa. County ya Siaya wako na vitanda ya isolation 10 peke yake. Sasa jameni, tukifungua hivyo wengine wanataka tufanye, ugonjwa uendelee kuzidi Migori na Siaya, na hawana vitanda vya kutosha. Si hiyo ni kulazimisha wale ambao wako na ugonjwa sasa warudi manyumbani kwao. Wakirudi manyumbani kwao, hawa ni wazee wetu, wa mama wetu na watoto wetu ambao pia wataambukizwa na hizo virusi. Na ndipo tumesema tunataka huu mkutano wa Wednesday, kwa sababu tayari tumeallocate bilioni 5 kwa county zetu. Tunataka tukubaliane na wao ni mikakati gani wataweka, na tunasema ukitaka county tufungue lazima uwe na a minimum capacity ya vitanda 300 zile ambazo zaweza kutumika ugonjwa ukipanda katika county yako. Kwa sababu tukikataa kuweka hiyo mikakati, umesikia yale nimesema hapo, idadi ya wananchi ambao twaweza kuhatarisha maisha yao tusipoweka hii mikakati ambapo tunasema. Nimesema sana haja yetu sio kuumiza Wakenya. Mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nadhania ya kwamba tutafungua hata zaidi ya yale ambaye tumefanya hapa leo, lakini ni mjinga ambaye hasikizi kutoka wataalamu wake. Wataalamu wetu wametuambia kufungua ni makosa. Wataalamu wetu wametuambia kufungua ni kuhatarisha maisha ya Wakenya. Wametuambia ya kwamba kufungua tukifikiria tuwasaidia uchumi, mwishowe ni uchumi tutakuwa tunaharibu. Wacha jameni tusaidiane, vile nimesema, vile Francis amesema hapa, tuone ni kwa njia gani tutaweza kusaidia wale ambao wameumia zaidi. Wale ambao wanaendelea kazi tutawazingatia kwa njia gani. Wale wameumia zaidi tutafute mbinu zote ambazo tuko nazo za kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumewasaidia pahali ambapo walipo, lakini sio kuwapeleka pahali ambapo maisha yao yatakuwa hatarini. Na ndipo unasikia tukisema tumeconsult hata na wazazi, tumeconsult na walimu, tumeconsult na religious groups juu ya mashule, na wote wamekubali ya kwamba haistahili tufungue mashule yetu sasa, kwa sababu tukiyafungua hiyo ni kama kufungulia virusi vianze kusambaa zaidi ya vile ambavyo inaendelea kwa wakati huu. Kwa hivyo Wakenya wenzangu, tunajua ni muda mgumu. Nimeona meme mingi ambazo mmetumatuma huko, sijui ati Freedom Day, Independence Day. Hii sio mambo ya independence, hii ni mambo ya maisha jameni. Hatufanyi hii kuumiza mtu yeyote. Jamani, tuwafanya hii kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumelinda maisha ya wananchi wetu. Jameni, afadhali uwe hai ndio uweze kukula hiyo happy ambayo unatafuta. Lakini ukiishia hiyo happy ulikula siku moja, iwe ndio itakupeleka kwa kaburi, sioni haja. Wenzangu, tutulie, nafasi bado itakuja. Mungu awabariki, Mungu awalinde. Nataka sasa niwaachie katibu wa Wizara ya Afya Susan Muchache aendelee pamoja na hawa wataalamu ambao wako hapa. Dr. Amos yuko hapa na wenzake. Hawa ndio wako na ujuzi. Sisi tumeshinda siku mzima tukiwauliza maswali, na tumechukua yule mwito ambao wako nao. Sasa sijui nyinyi wengine labda pia mko na maswali kama sisi tulikuwa na maswali. Wako hapa waweze wawajibu. Yangu ni kuwauliza wenzangu wa Kenya, let us have patience, let us trust in God, we shall overcome, na tutashinda hii virusi na Kenya yetu itasonga mbele. Mungu awabariki nyote, Mungu awalinde. Asanteni sana.
Nafikiri tumesikia vile ambavyo Mheshimiwa Rais ameweza kusema, na sisi tukiongea kama Wizara ya Afya na washikadau wote wa afya tunaona kwamba